Morning. How y'all doing today? Well, my name's Tom, and well, I'm just a rambling Christian. If this is the first time you've been here, please stick around. We look at things a little different around here. And typically, I like to ramble before I get started. So, I come across this post on Facebook that, it's at the zoo or something like that, or someplace. It says, please don't feed the animals. Feeding the animals creates dependent animals in reference to, like government assistance, buying food for the poor and crap like that. But, you know, people are stupid. They really are. Uh, I think about things. I've been in business. The number one controllable thing in business is labor. Uh, if you can pay a man less, let's say the position typically pays $35,000 to $40,000 a year, and the position comes available through maybe the dude left or something like that. And if you can hire an employee in at 25 to 30,000, you save the company $10,000. Bam, right there per year, right? So, they always shoot for low when they go to hire you. Yeah, the position pays 35, but if you'll take 30, they're happy. This is why you never say, it's negotiable when they say salary requirements, and you put on there, well, I'll take $10 an hour, but the position pays 15, maybe even $20 an hour. You've limited yourself. Same with prayers. I'll give you examples of those. But now, inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is a made-up, fictitious number based upon complete lies, right? Because a company does not report everything. We know this by Trump being, overestimating the value of a building. My house, I only paid so much for it, but the value of it to me is a lot more, right? So, but inflation, what it does is it splits the gold value. If gold is worth 50, let's say back in the day, gold was $1 an ounce, just for easy reference. And now gold is $1,000 an ounce. Okay. Now, if the money you had was still based upon gold, that $1 would be worth $1,500. I mean, $1,000, right? Well, but they removed that gold standard, and now they give you a promissory note, basically. It's not even worth anything. It's just like me writing you an IOU on a piece of paper. I owe you this money. You don't even really get money. But so they use inflation, and they tell you, well, the cost of inflation, the value of everything has went up. It cost me more for this tool. It cost me more for fuel. It cost me more for all this. Everything in the country goes up in cost, except the value of a man, his labor. They tell you everything costs more, but your time, effort, and abilities to produce those products cost less because the value of $1 has decreased. So you used to get paid $1 an hour. Now you're getting paid 20 cents an hour. If $1 is only worth 20 cents, for every dollar you make an hour, you only make 20 cents, not $1. So that's a lie. That's the number one controllable is your labor. So they say the dollar is now only worth 20 cents. So all that extra, that 80 cents, they keep. You know what I'm saying? That all goes back to them. And then you still get taxed on that 20%. At 20 cents, 60% of your income. So, you know, that's what it costs to live here. Now, if you paid a man a living wage, my grandfather uh, came home from World War II driving trucks, made $800 a week driving coal trucks. Uh, Now a Pepsi truck driver or something like that's making 500-600 a week, not the 800. That's actually went down. Okay, uh, a house cost $10,000 to $15,000. Now a house costs 100, 200, 300,000 plus. The pay is still the same. Everything else went up except for the value of the slaves. The slaves get paid less. You know, back in the day when slaves were around, uh, they weren't treated very well, and all they got was, if a farmer needed a hog for the table inside, the slaves got the innards, the offals, uh, as pay, or as their food. That's the same thing today. You're just getting the offal. You're getting the genetically modified foods. You're getting the sugar-laden cereals and all this kind of stuff. But if you're rich, you're buying, if you're the master, you're buying organics, getting the best health cares, and all this kind of stuff. If you're, one of the slaves, you get crappy health care down here at the local hospital that, has a 2-star rating, maybe, and, gets bought and sold regular because it sucks. Uh, you know, the value of a man has went down. The value of a dollar never went up. So, anybody elected into any office is evil. They're part of the system that keeps you a slave. They tell you that, they can justify everything to keep you down. But when met with truth, like how come, that pay is less today, a house costs more? And, you want to blame the people who don't want to go out there and just, if I'm working 40 hours a week or more, I've worked 60, 70 hours a week, 3 jobs at times to make it. I can see where somebody would just say, and still not have enough money to do it, to where they just blow it all off and tell you to go screw yourself. And people go, oh, it's their fault. They just don't want to work. No, my value and my time is worth way more than you give it, credit for. Like I say, I'm a butcher, and that's a dying breed. It's going to be all done by machine and things like that, and that takes away a manual labor job for somebody who doesn't have a college education. And now the highest unemployment is with the college grads who can't find a job because they have worthless degrees. Yeah, they're stupid people. I've met a lot of college people, and I've taught a lot of college people. And they come out of college and they're dumber than when they came out of high school, because now they're fixed in a way, and it's hard to get out of that. You can teach somebody who knows nothing, but you can't teach somebody who thinks they know it all. You know what I'm saying? It's attitude is everything. But don't let people tell you that, that car costs so much because of inflation. Well, if inflation was true, then my money would have inflated too. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather's $800 a week. It's 10 times more to buy a house now. So it should be like 8,000 a week, not 800 a week. It's just simple math. 10%. Well, 10 times 800 is 8,000. And, 10 times 15,000 for a house is 150,000. So, my salary should increase that much too. If the value of a dollar went down, then I should make more dollars for my time, not less. I mean, I'm just logical. But, I don't let people lie to me. I tell you, I can spot a lie. There is no lie that can get past me. I don't believe that crap. Inflation is just a fictitious number. The Fed is a way that the government can borrow money against your slavery. They estimate the value of your life in tax dollars in order to be able to say this is how much money we can pay the government, pay the federal government, to take out loans that we don't have. If it was based on gold, the founding fathers, you're supposed to have a balanced budget. Government's not supposed to be in debt. It's supposed to have a balanced budget. So, in my opinion, anything that doesn't balance the budget goes. You know what I'm saying? By taking more off the slaves, you can't build up your own country off the money in the pockets of the people. It doesn't work. Everybody in the country could give the money to the government every dime that you have, and it's not going to fix the problem. No, because that money would run out immediately, and then there's no more. So it doesn't matter. Taxes are not the solution. A balanced budget is. Quit giving countries your money. Quit buying foreign-made products and give it to the local dude down here. Stupid stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The reason why America's dollar is worth 20 cents is because you have given 80% of it away to other countries. And there's just no more here. They keep it. The American dollar is worth something. And when it gets to a foreign country, they don't give it back. No, they keep it. Yeah. Because, you take a dollar some places, it's worth thousands of theirs. Yeah, they're not going to give it away that easy. So, no, the reason why it's worth 20 cents is because 80% of it is in China, Saudi, Israel, and Ukraine, and all these places that we just give them money. Billions and trillions of dollars. And then say to America, oh, we're broke. We can't help the poor. We can't help the needy. So we're going to take that money from them. And we're not going to tax anybody who makes money, real big money. We're going to make all kinds of secret hideaway places because they're liars. And they tell you, well, we're the ones who create the wealth in this country. We'll just take our money somewhere else. No, you do business in this country, you pay the taxes in this country, okay? That's, if you want to have business in here, you want to sell anything here, because this is where the money comes from that builds the world. I don't care what you say. America has built everything by buying their products. So, and giving them free money. So, go ahead. Take your hairy butt somewhere else. If you don't get American money, see, this is what it says in buying foreign idols within Scripture. That's not buying, going over here and buying Buddha. No, that's not buying a foreign idol. Buying a foreign idol is giving them your money, and they buy it with their beliefs. They buy that Buddha. You buy a Buddha because it's a cute little fat dude sitting on a step. He's sitting on the wall or on a shelf. They buy Buddha because they believe that. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference there. It's like a Christian, he'll go out and buy a cross first thing. As soon as he's saved, he goes buys a cross, puts it around his neck. Wears it in his, girls wear it in their ears. And just all kinds of stupid stuff like that. So These are buying idols. When you buy something with that belief, that's an idol. No graven images at all. So when next time your boss comes to you and he says, dude, I'm not going to be able to give you a raise. You get 1 or 2% of a raise, and inflation has went up, 30, 40%, and you're like, yeah, sure, just stand up, walk the heck up and out of there, everybody. I wouldn't work for him no more. I mean, my folks, my dad, stepdad, he was the only one working, bought a house for us in Vallejo, California for $35,000. That's what he paid for it. Sold it 6 years later, I think it was, for 105. Now the house is worth close to $4 million. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 level, 12, maybe 1,400 square feet. 2-car garage, small, less than a quarter-acre yard, I think. It may be a quarter-acre, maybe. And do you think the pay in that area has increased to justify the value of that $35,000 home? Just saying. So don't let somebody tell you that, it's all about, getting out there and hustling and making more money. That's a lie. The more you make, the more you're a slave. You get caught into that. The only way to defeat the system is to deny the system. Completely. Deny it. Nobody go. Screw you, man. If my time is not worth, if you're telling me that everything is going up because it costs more, why do I not cost more then? Why is my time not more valuable? If the value of a dollar has decreased, then the dollars that I get should reflect, my worth, not my, I don't know. It's just, that's a lie. I tell you, money is man-made. The barter system. When I come over, I'll do something for you. You can help me out. I grow potatoes, you grow tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? We swap them off. Things of this nature. Barter system, both people walk away happy. When you're exchanging money, you're exchanging hard work in a form of a piece of paper that really is intangible because it just disappears within your fingers. But a product, when you go down and you buy a car, you never walk away and say, oh man, I got a great deal. Well, some people do, I guess. But paying, $40,000, $50,000 for a car is not a great deal at all. And you use it as a status symbol to make yourself feel better. You say, oh man, I drive a Lexus, or I don't even know what, a Beamer, or, or Jaguar, or some of these rich people, driving Lamborghinis, just for the status symbol of it. That's a way to lie to yourself and give value to that. Men refer to it as the size of their stuff. That's me. The more expensive car you have, the littler it is, inside. You have no worth, no value in here if you place a value on a material item type thing. Me, I'll drive a clunker till it drops in the ground. I don't care. It's just to get me somewhere. I don't place, my value does not reflect in my vehicle. It reflects inside. See? So I don't need it to be impressive to anybody at all. And I don't let liars tell me squat. Now we're in Genesis 10. Now this is some genealogy, and I tell you I'm bad with names. Typically, I used to just kind of peruse through the names. You know what I'm saying? Because even the pronunciations of them are pretty hard sometimes for me. But I want to look at these and see if we can find a couple people. Now, Saul became Paul. Now, Saul, Old Testament, became Paul, New Testament. Saul fell on the sword. The sword is Jesus, right? And he killed himself. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. But anyway, he threw himself on the sword. Now, Paul came to life by Christ, the sword. So, this is a change of attitude. And I tell you, Saul right now is Judaism. They're going to see Jesus and kill themselves. Okay? Like the Muslims, they cannot drink wine. This is also for the Jews. You can't drink wine. Well, a little wine is good for digestion, but they're going to drink it in bucketfuls. Okay? So, Saul will become Paul, the church. I tell you, Judaism is going to go away. And then Saul will become Paul. But it tells us in the New Testament that the sins are spiritual. So the book can't be speaking in flesh if the sins are spiritual within inside of it. And we're going to cover some of the separations today within Noah here and his sons. Now, I don't know everybody. And I think if I remembered names of them, I would be so much better at it. But names, I've met thousands, if not tens of thousands, even possibly hundreds of thousands of people. I've been in customer service for my whole thing, and I have no problem talking to just strangers. I talk to people. I don't have a problem with that. And at one time I possibly did. But when I got into customer service, it was a job requirement to talk to people. And then you realize it's not really that hard to talk to people. It's not. But that's for some of us. Some are just, I don't need nobody. And that's hard on a man. But, it's nice to talk to people. Really, there's so many. And I'm not selective in who I talk to. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. Standing in a line, I'll talk to the person behind me, in front of me, 2 lines over. I don't care. But it's just nice like that. You meet so many great people. Now this is 10 here, and it says, now this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, and the sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Joseph were Gomer, Magog, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Ripta, and Togarmah. Who, man, see, Garmah. This is why I skip over them, because in my head it's all jumbled up like that. I hate the way they separate the word. I do, because really, to me, it would be just easier to read the word. Because Togarmah, Togarmah, Togarmah. And the sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshisha, Kittim, and Dodanim. Wow, man. But this is the part I want right here. From these, the coastland peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. Now this is what I talk about. Your DNA line, it's the same spirit into the descendant, into your families. Both ways are separated. You're separated after, when this soul is birthed. If the spirit and the soul become one, then they get to go home. If they don't, they're separated. The soul is harvested for new flesh, and the spirit is harvested for life within that flesh. Now, when those two come together, they're in disagreement already. The flesh thinks it rules the world, and it does, in a way. And the spirit is afraid of the Father. They want to go hide, type of things, depending upon their convictions, I reckon. But there's no escaping if this soul does not adhere to that spirit, if you can't become one within yourself. And this book tells us how to do that. It really truly does. But not all are called to this. This is for the bad guy, to help the bad guy. If he can be honest with himself, it will fix himself. There are many beautiful souls that are one, that live within themselves and live by this law that is written within their heart. And that is where it truly is. Love, mercy, and understanding. Well, love and mercy come from here, I reckon. Understanding, if you can love, that'll give you understanding, and then your heart will give them mercy. It's not hiding away in a building. And it's not hard to say no. You can look at the person that's destroyed by whatever they're doing. How can that be tempting to you? Don't be afraid. Fear not. You don't go up to a crackhead and say, oh man, that's the life I want to live. No. You go up to them with love, mercy, understanding. Don't fear that they got cooties or some crap from schoolyard days that you're going to catch. You can't catch addiction. It's not contagious. It comes from the inside of the person. If you're easily addicted, you got problems too. And you're addicted to Jesus. So you're just as big as addict as any crackhead. I'm sorry, I hate that term, but it's true, man. We get taken away. I've done it. I wasn't taken away like that, but I've seen many people lose it all that are beautiful people. make one mistake in their life, and that life is worthless now? Bull. Make one mistake in their life, and nobody there to pick them up. That dude, that's got that show, What Would You Do, or something like that. I like this guy. I can't remember his name, though. They'll put, a couple of actors in a restaurant uh, and throw out some racial crap, where some white people are belittling a black guy, or a mother is beating on a kid, or a father is bad mouthing his child, or something right to his face, or something. And to just see how many people in the crowd will react, what would you do? So many people sit there and just watch. Like, I can't believe it. And they can hear, you can hear in the rest, they got mics and all that. People say, I can't believe you're talking to them like that. But nobody gets up. And then there'll be one person go over there and fixing to throw down, and then they come running out of the background. Oh, no, 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 no. It's just a social experiment. But it's sad that we even have to do that to see how people would react. We should all gather around those in need. I mean, it should be, you shouldn't need a hurricane or a tornado to blow through your town before you know your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what your neighbor does. It doesn't. You should at least know him. There's so many people that in the country that don't have family where they're at. Nobody to call when something goes wrong. They're pretty much standing on their own. We move away. We go where the work is. So many people hundreds of miles away from their folks anymore, if not thousands. And your neighbors should be able to come to you if they need something in an emergency or something like that, and already know you, and not feel like when I come to you, is he going to help me, or something like this or whatever. They should have confidence in the fact that if they come to your door, that if they need something, you're going to do what you can to help them out. They should already know that. That, hey man, I got your back. You need something. Now, I can't help in all situations. No, I can't. But I can help in a lot of them. And me and my wife talk about it. We're the people that has nobody to call when something goes wrong, right? We're the people that somebody calls when things go wrong with their lives. That's when they call us. Very few people answer the call when we call them to, come do something or whatever. But man, our phone will ring off the hook when somebody needs some help. And that's okay with us. It really is, because then I don't have to worry. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about if they're doing okay. Because the moment that they're not doing okay, they're calling me. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as their life is going good. Everything's going good. We talk a little bit, here and there, but that call when they call me is when they need something. They call Granny and talk to her and all that kind of stuff. But, I don't worry, because when they need something done, they'll call me. They'll try everything they can. I'll be the last dude they call. I will. And it's not because of any other reason. Is that my wife and we're parents. You know what I'm saying? We're typical. Well, if you would have done it, right the first time. Not really. But that's the attitude they have toward us. Because my wife and I, we grew up in a life where we made mistakes. So we learned a lot. We have wisdom. Uh, and sometimes, we put ourselves in positions. And I tell my wife to let them make their own mistakes. They'll call us when they do. That's when they'll want to know. But if you try to tell them that beforehand, they're not going to listen. You know what I'm saying? Until they have hindsight, they won't ever have foresight. You know what I'm saying? So they have to make a few mistakes before they start to understand. And that's exactly how I refer to myself and the Father. My life was total crap until my Father picked me up, dusted me off, and got me back on the way. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I say nobody comes to the Father unless you're on your knees. And my wife and I were parents, uh, spiritually and physically. And people don't come. You don't go home to mom and dad unless you really need something. You know what I'm saying? So that's life, and we should accept that within ourselves. They're not going to call you and tell you they need you. It's just the way kids are. We have lives. I mean, tell me we don't. Until you don't have a life, you don't realize. Because when you were younger, you didn't call your folks. You didn't go visit all the time. You had a job. You had kids. You had this. You had that. So many parents are mad because their kids. I hear stuff, but this is the kind of separations, though. I tell you, spirits gather together. Kinds, like kinds, gather together. Now it says the sons of Ham were Cush, Merim, Put, and Canaan. Now we know at the end of Zechariah 14 there, Canaanites will no longer be found. Those come from Ham, that's why. Now the sons of Cush were Sheba, Seba, Ramoth, Sabbathah, blah, 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 blah. And then it comes down to Cush begot Nimrod. He became a mighty one on the earth. Different than in the earth. We discussed that. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. Now, Nimrod, Saul was chosen because he was a mighty hunter. Saul in the New Testament hunted down Christians and blasphemers and all kinds of people, right? A mighty hunter. And let's look at this. This is 10:10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel. Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Now, the beginning of the Tower of Babel, the town. But think about it. This is the division. Paul does not agree with the apostles. I've discussed that. So often, the wise men, those doctors of theology, will tell you that Romans was written by Paul. But Romans is a rebuke of Paul's teachings. It's written to Paul by Tityrus or some Titer. U.S. or something. Uh, and it's signed by that dude. I wrote this in the spirit, blah, blah, blah. This dude wrote it. He's not a scribe. He's not Paul's scribe. Paul didn't, walk around with a scribe. Uh, this is a complete lie from man. The book is truth. It's written to Paul by this dude. So, mighty hunter. And then, listen to this. It says in 10:10, in 10:11 here, it says, from that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Kala, and Resen between Nineveh and Kala, that is the principal city. Between the two. And Resen, between Nineveh and Resen. Hold on just a sec. I didn't look up all the names because there's so many daggone names. But I did look up a couple. Hold on. Cool. Resen means a bridle or a bit. Bam. Okay, but listen, I forgot to tell you here. Javan, I really should write these in my book. Javan is a spiritual phase of intelligence, or to be illuminated and inspired intellect. That's Javan. And they're in the coastland peoples. They were separated with these. The Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language. Now the sons of Javan, they were the sons of Javan. But the flock is out there in the world, within the Gentiles. And in Javan, baby name means Greece, Lonia, or mud man. And then over here, we have Resen between the two. And this is the land between the two. And this is a bridle or a bit, a yoke around your neck. This is why I'm going through the names. It's because, and this is between Nineveh and that is the principal city. And then it says, Mizraim begot Ludim, blah, 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 blah. And and then 14, Pathram and Casalarim, from whom came the Philistines and Caphtharim. I don't know, man. But who came the Philistines? Now we know those are the Jews today. Saul is with the Philistines. And then Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn. Now this is it never within here separates other firstborns and stuff. Except, well, hold on. And it says, there's one other. But begot his firstborn and Heath, the Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgasite, the Hivite, the Archite, and the Sinite, the Avidite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Wow, man, see, this is names. But here it says, afterward, after what? Afterward, the families of the Canaanites were dispersed. Now, is this the division of the church? Now, this is kind of all going on, but I'm talking about the Canaanites being dispersed. Now, we have so many denominations and so many different churches around the world that people are called to. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go towards Gerar, as far as Gaza. Now, let's say Gaza is something like California, Oregon, and Washington versus, because Texas is over here, where the boat is. But let's say that not that Gaza, but Gaza more here than there. I mean, think about it. Then as you go towards Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, as far as Lashan. Now, Sodom, Gomorrah, I have to think about that exactly. I have to look directions. Let me look it up on a map and see. I'll look this stuff up on a map here, maybe tomorrow or after I get down here. But then it says, these were the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands and in their nations. Ham, the swine, in their nations. The children were born also to Shem, and children were also born to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Joseph, the elder. Now we know that Joseph is the elder. See, and that was not specified until right there. Nowhere in here does it say which ones come first. And Joseph is actually listed last over here. The sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Joseph. Was Shem the youngest? Ham the middle? Shem would be Islam. Joseph would be Judaism. Ham would be Christianity, I think. We'll see. Isn't that what I said earlier over on the other? Just by the names. But the sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Aphak, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. And then Arphax. Now see this here. It doesn't list, like here, sons of Javan were these. And then it gives here, that's it, no more. Then it went to the sons of Ham, and then it says Cush, or Cush, blah, blah, blah. Then the sons of Cush. Cush begot Nimrod. But then it doesn't go down into the other children. Here it's listing all the children of Shem. And to Eber were born two sons. And now here, to Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. Jesus divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. Now, Peleg means small or small water stream. The testimony of Jesus will get you there. He says, I am the way to the Father. That small stream, when you read red letters only, not that BS that the apostles are telling you. You get confused with that. You've got to build your foundation. If you don't have truth to start, and Jesus was the truth, not the lie. When they say Jesus only calls the righteous now, but that's not what Jesus said. Jesus doesn't call the righteous. So that means when we're called by Jesus, we're the bad guy. We have to fix ourselves, not somebody else. It says pull our plank out. We have to pull that out first. And how do we do that? Listen to red letters only. I tell you, he's truth, 100% truth. If you don't listen to him, you go with him, and he don't want you to. He loves you, but he wants you to go home to the Father. That's what he's telling you. I am the way to the Father. Nobody gets to the Father but by me. Why is he telling you that? He's not saying you stay here with me. He's saying, I'm trying to get you to the Father. And I tell you, that's something that the Israelite was inside of you died without. They didn't have. They died in a law that didn't allow an escape. They died under a law that they didn't get to fulfill. It says those who die by murder, and we were murdered. That's what you call it when you destroy all flesh. That's called murder. The law stands. It's not like here in the U.S. where the law stands for the little guy and not if you're if you're up. It stands for everybody. From the top down, the law stands for each and every one. Everybody. The rulers of this world, everybody is under the law. Everybody's dead. The dead have no say. Okay? That's why he says he'll have mercy upon himself. All fall short of the glory of God. He'll have mercy upon whom he wants. We all fall short. That's them too. You have to. That's everybody in this book falls short. So we don't look to these guys as the good guys. We look to these guys as the bad examples. They didn't make it. They're in you. They did wrong. How do you fix that? Jesus tells us. The law stands. Only those who do the will of the Father in heaven will ever see heaven. Through all the parables that Jesus gives us, these are warnings. They're not blessings. They're warnings. This is what's going to happen if you don't do what he says. It's not good or evil here. It is the will of the Father here. And he controls both sides. They're just tests. Now, but here, Jotan means small dispute, contention, disgust. That's that Cain and Abel spirit I tell you about that Jesus come with, the Yahweh and the Elohim. And that fights within you. You're both within you. These two dudes. And their dwelling place was from Mesa as you go towards Sephar, the mountains of the east, Blue Ridge. These were the sons of Shem according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations, and from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood. Now, I'm going to hold off here. We got through that, and my tongue is tied. But just a few little names there. And I wish I was better at names. I'm not good at names and numbers. Well, I'm good at math, but I never done the number stuff. I just started that a little bit ago, working a few numbers. That was it. But the beginning of 11, I want to give you this, because I tell you, day 6 is coming. Day 6 in Genesis, at the creation there, Adam is given all authority over all the beasts of the earth. This is the one world government. Now here, we got through Jesus. Now 11 starts. We have the division. Now 11 starts. Now the whole earth had one language. and one speech. That's the one world government with the one world religion. May the Holy Spirit guide you. May God, the Father, the Creator of us all, protect your soul.